I'm Bambi Francisco for Vader TV, the network for innovators. Well, Blue Tie, which is an email and calendaring solutions company, is moving into the advertising CPA business. David Koretz is here. He's the founder and CEO of Blue Tie. He founded it in 1999. He joins me now. He's going to tell us a little bit about his new moves to monetize his business. David, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bambi. So we started as a provider of applications to small business. So we were one of the very early software service providers. And we did that on a subscription model. So $5 per user per month, and companies could outsource and provide an alternative to Microsoft Outlook and Exchange. And so
you've been around since 1999. It was $5 a month for email or calendaring. How many subscribers did you get paying $5 a month?
So we actually have 230,000 businesses as customers, and we have over 4 million users on the Blue Tie platform in the first half of this year.
Okay.
So we've become
and they were paying $5 a month.
Yep. So we have both a retail division and a wholesale division. So a percentage of those users are in our retail division, and a percentage of those are actually, in fact, a larger percentage are now with ISPs and web publishers that sell Blue Tie under their own brand.
Okay. So could you before we get into the new monetization, and I guess you had difficulty perhaps, upselling them into larger packages, a couple $100 a month, a couple $100 a year, several $100 a year, and that's one of the reasons why you're moving into this advertisement type model? No,
so we actually, our subscription business is still around. That business is doubling year over year. So we're not getting rid of the subscription model. We still think that's a great business. But the reason we got into advertising was actually not because of our subscription business. It was actually because of our white labeled business with ISPs and web publishers. So companies like Forbes and Earthlink and United Online actually use Blue Tie to provide email to some or all of their customers. And so what they said to us is they wanted to start turning email from a cost center into a profit center. It was the #1 way that they could communicate with their customers on the web. And so what we ended up doing was we launched a system that supported banner ads and that supported contextual ads inside email applications. And the problem was when we started looking at the economics of them, the economics don't really make sense in an application.
So are you saying like the ads in the Google email, they don't make sense for Google at all?
No, and it makes sense when you think about it. So in Google core search business, 1 every 5 or 6 clicks, you'll click on a paid listing versus a free listing. But that's because when you go to a search engine, you go to it because you have intent. Right? So when I go out and type in Costa Rica vacation, I'm looking for a vacation. But in the world of email, intent doesn't lie with the recipient where Google displays its ads. Intent lies with the sender. So Mark Chairman owns the Buffalo Sabres. If he sends me an email saying, do you want to go to a Sabres game? I don't care how relevant those ads are. I have zero intent to buy tickets.
So in your experience, maybe you're probably not privy to Google's data, of course, but what percentage of I guess what's the click-through rate for the ads in those emails?
The statistical analysis we did actually, and when we looked at contextual email, average click-through rates was 1 out of every 12 to 1,400 page views. So it's literally less than 100th of what it is in core search. And so I actually I just got back. I gave a whole series of lectures at RIT in Rochester, and I went and asked every class what percentage used Gmail. It was 80% did. It was an incredible take rate. Then I asked what percentage had ever clicked on an ad, and only 5% had.
Right, so not a good way to monetize email. So you've come up with a different way to monetize email. You probably saw that in your own data as well, that nobody was clicking on the ads.
Yeah, the click-through rates weren't compelling at all.
So, okay, I'm sorry.
No, so then we looked at banner advertising, and it had the exact same problems. Not only did it take up screen real estate, but on top of that, we also had a secondary problem, which was when you look at banner advertising in an application, you're actually disrupting the user experience. So I click on an ad, it breaks the application and takes me to the ad. And that's not the user experience you want in an application.
Right.
So we created a model called featuretisments that takes value-added services. So travel services from Orbitz, on-demand faxing from eFax, gifts from Amazon.com and flowers from FTD, and integrated the best of the web in terms of services, web applications, and e-commerce into the application so it's treated as a service.
So you have a demo here now. Is Orbitz your customer? Because if Orbitz is your customer, that seems outside of your small business
So Orbitz is one of our advertisers.
Target.
So
okay.
Orbitz is actually providing the travel application on the back end to our customers.
Oh, okay.
And so we actually integrated it in so that if I go into my calendar,
right.
I can simply drag in the time I want to fly, and I can type in flights from ROC to ORD. And the system is smart enough to understand my natural language, figure out I'm trying to book a flight, go out and scan 7 million Orbitz flights in real time, and overlay the flights that match my schedule on top of my calendar. So I can literally see how the flights work with my schedule.
And you actually get a piece of that.
Yeah,
the company actually, so say Vader, say we're a customer of yours, right? We've decided to be one of your customers. We're going to have use your email and calendaring. What does Vader get out of there if one of my employees actually books a flight on Orbitz?
So the first monetization model was really designed for ISPs who offer that application for free.
Okay.
And so it was the benefit for Vader is instead of having your employees getting bombarded with traditional advertising via banner ads, and instead of having their private personal business or consumer emails scanned by a system like Google, which is an invasion of privacy, here they actually just get the services they use anyway directly integrated into their own application. So they lose banner ads, they lose privacy issues that are there with a contextual email.
What's the trick to making something like that work? I mean,
so the Orbitz demonstration, this took us approximately 4 to 5 months of development for an entire team of engineers.
Yeah.
We had to really rebuild the entire workflow. And what we came to is a conclusion that applications are all about workflow. And users are trying to perform actions all day long, whether they're scheduling meetings or sending an email on an application like BlueTie, or whether they're in a social networking sending messages to their friends. And if we insert things into that process, we can actually enhance the user experience.
What other things are you inserting besides just travel?
So I was in Pebble Beach last night where the fax rate was $12 a minute for the first page, $9 a minute for each additional page. We now integrated eFax in, so it'll be launching next month. You can now right-click on an email attachment, and for 25 cents a page, send it as a fax.
Okay.
We actually did something we call the boyfriend saver. So when it's your fiance or wife or girlfriend's birthday, it'll actually pop up and say, it's your wife's birthday, click here to send flowers, click here to send a gift through Amazon.
Right.
And so we're trying to figure out what services people want anyway and embed them into the application.
Right.
In a CPA model, unlike banner ads, we don't get paid if we interrupt the user experience.
Sure.
We're only getting paid on transactions.
You can also do cards. I mean, Plaxo does that too. On your birthdays, you can kind of sell cards.
We have a greeting card deal in process right now as well.
What do you think the challenge is to making that business successful? I've seen Plaxo try, the monetization, that was what they were going to try to do, is that they had all this information about people and they were going to, monetize by, basically sort of what you're doing. It seems. What are the biggest challenges to that business?
I think social networks start in the wrong place. I think what social networks thus far have taken the approach that they are generating more page views, and they're using traditional CPM routes to monetize those page views. What I don't think the Facebook and MySpace of the world have yet realized is they're an application, and application's a fundamentally different approach to monetization. And so the world of display advertising and contextual just doesn't fit inside of an app. And so what we're doing differently is we're actually only embedding into workflow. So the challenges around that are, because we're making money on a CPA model, we have to do a lot to drive the value. So if customers don't find it valuable, they're not going to use it, we won't generate revenue.
I think an interesting one would be Opentable. If you work
They're
with
one
those
of our
guys,
partners.
That's good. That makes sense. I would like that instead of, I want to have a meeting with you and pop up Opentable. Does that work with your application?
Yep, we're integrating them in later this year. But we're actually, not only do we do Opentable, we also did Dinner Broker. So we have we have the two largest in that space. We're actually going a step further, though. We actually are integrating it in so that if I right-click on my hotel, I can say, show me the 10 Indian restaurants closest to my hotel that are available for reservations now. So we're really trying to build it around the fact that we have your application data, and we can leverage that to be able to do really relevant functionality. What's
been the best way to acquire a new customer?
So the predominant, the majority of our customers are actually now coming through our ISPs and web publisher channels. So what we've found is we've really become the experts in this space in terms of how do you monetize a web-based application. And there are a lot of other companies that have figured out how to build big user bases that are looking to monetize.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of small businesses on our site, so we're also one way to find new customers as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks so much, David. And good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I've been speaking with David Koretz. He's the founder and CEO of BlueTie. I'm Bambi Francisco.